The New York Giants have fired Brian Daboll. Now, if you watched yesterday's game, this is not a surprise to you. This was a fourth blown double digit lead by his coaching staff. And the reality of the situation is, I think what really put it over the top was Jackson Dart's injury, putting him in harm's way again. Fourth time being, looked at for a concussion, and this time it looks like it is legit. He does have one, and when that is your franchise quarterback and the guy that you're hoping to really build around in the next few years, especially someone who's as exciting of a talent and leader as he looks to be, a guy that a lot of people in this league are going to want to coach, it was a decision that seemed obvious. And I am someone who defended Brian Daboll for a long time, and Joe Schoen. And you're thinking, how is that possible? Well, I think their issue and what I'm learning the most, the plane goes by, I think what I'm learning the most from this Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll regime is if you take the patient approach in New York, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but in my opinion, what they did could work in other places. I don't think it could work with the New York Giants or any New York team or any big market team because they went so patient. They're like, let's see what we have in Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and the Gettleman talent. Okay, they overachieved in contract years, went 9-7-1, won a road playoff game. Let's see if we can add to it. They tried to add to it. It didn't work. It was fugazi. Tried to find a quarterback, wanted to draft the best player available. They get Malik Neighbors the next year, right? Oh, he's the best player available. Again, works in a lot of places. Not with New York. Coming in, Daniel Jones off an ACL injury. He's abysmal. Some people think that had something to do with Daboll. I think it was more of a situation where Jones was terrible. They cut bait with Jones. All right, now you're drafting franchise quarterback. Now the noise and negativity after year 3 is too intense for the players. Because, the players are hearing this stuff too. You guys stink. You guys suck. We're booing you. Blah, 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 blah. They get sick of it. And then they start to quit on the coach. And I think that's what happened here. I think it just took too long. I really did. And I think Brian Daboll's a terrible head coach for anything? Not really. I don't think he's a terrible head coach. However, he's just not the guy for New York. I think those are two simple things that you could separate. I'm going to remember some of the good stuff. This is the guy that drafted what could be the New York Giants' next quarterback for the next 10, 15 years. Cam Scatterbill, really good player. Malik Neighbors. There's a lot of talent on this roster. So because of that, I actually don't know if Joe Schoen's going to go. And the New York Giants are going to select their next head coach, and they have to get it right. Especially if Schoen is the GM here. They have to get it right. And I don't know if it even makes sense to really bring Schoen back, because I think if you're going to rip the Band-Aid, you might as well just rip everything. I think a lot of GMs and a lot of head coaches would love to coach the talent and manage the talent on this team right now. And that's where it's conflicting for me about the Schoen Daboll thing. I just think it took too long and they were too patient. I think if they weren't settled on Jones and they weren't settled on Barkley, you should have traded them immediately. Rip the Band-Aid. Start from the ground up. Now, the next regime isn't going to do that because there's way too much talent on this team. But you're 2-8. It's not good. Too many 2-7, 2-7, 2-8 starts. And Daboll was hanging on to that Coach of the Year win by a thread, especially this season. And it's going to be an attractive job for people. I have no idea who the next head coach is. No idea. This isn't like last summer where you had Vrabel, you had Ben Johnson, you had guys that were kind of ready to coach a team. It seemed like a lot of attractive things, which I think a big reason why Giants fans were frustrated that Daboll wasn't fired after last year. Well, it kind of makes sense now because this year you don't have nearly as much of that. So the New York Giants are in a situation now where they're going to have to pick their next head coach. And you hear this Belichick stuff, which I think is unrealistic. Gruden, unrealistic. It's probably going to be a coordinator of some sort. And I have no idea who it's going to be. And I don't know if it's going to be somebody with head coaching experience, and it's just going to be fascinating what they do. While I do think the Belichick stuff is highly unlikely, there is a chance that John Mara, who we all know, is battling right now, he might be like, listen, Belichick's my guy, and I'm going to go all in on Belichick. That's the only possibility I see that happening at all. As far as what I think is probably more likely, it's probably going to be some sort of OC. That would be my assumption. But we're going to find out. And, I think it could just be, especially for the New York Giants, just like they just need a new voice. Because after so much losing with Daboll, year 3 of losing and blowing the games that they were blowing, I think it's just a situation where the talent was not hearing the voice after a while. There was too much losing to overcome that. Which is why, if you are a new regimes, kind of what the Jets are doing now, clean house right away if you're not sold on this talent. Do that in year 1, because the New York fans can take year 1, maybe year 2. Year 3, they're going to start to jump ship. And you saw that with the New York Giants. I mean, you had planes going over the stadium being like, fire these guys. It's just a situation where you can't lose for that long. You can't go this long without doing something. Even a team like the New York Knicks, who went to the conference finals last year, they got rid of Tom Thibodeau. They went the farthest they had in 25 years. Because they didn't win a championship or get to the finals, conference finals wasn't good enough. So, patience in New York hits a limit, as it probably should be. But that's when you knew, the Daboll thing was really going to go into a tailspin. So the New York Giants, I still think, are in good shape in regards to, talent on the roster. Young talent, I think it's going to be a very attractive job for people, as if last year, which I don't think was attractive at all, this year, I think they're going to find a lot of candidates that are going to want to coach this team. The question is, who's going to hire it? I assume Shane is going to be back, just because I don't know why I think Shane's going to be back. It just seems like there's a feeling that he is going to be back, and if he's not going to be back, then that'll be very interesting who the GM will be and whatever. But it's something that had to happen.